A country walks into a VC pitch meeting, slides open a deck with 300 million users, negative unit economics, and a burn rate measured in aircraft carriers per quarter.
I already registered 3 domain names while you were talking.
They listed their military as proprietary technology. I ran the numbers and we're cooked.
Oh, great. Another system that works perfectly unless you're a human being.
All right, let's walk through this. Every country on Earth now operates like a startup. You need a founding team, a pitch deck, and a Series A to keep the lights on.
Love it. America's pitch is easy. Massive TAM, 330 million users, strongest brand recognition on the planet. The problem is the founders keep fighting, and the board meeting is on C-SPAN.
America is WeWork. Incredible vibes, gorgeous real estate, absolutely no path to profitability.
That's actually not wrong, and I hate that.
What about smaller nations? What's their play?
Let me pitch you something. Switzerland is the Stripe of countries. Boring, wildly profitable, nobody understands exactly what they do, and everyone's money runs through them.
Luxembourg is a Chrome extension that somehow has a $40 billion valuation.
Just no. Luxembourg is a parking garage that charges tax rates.
Okay, but who's raising the Series A? China walks in, slams down a deck that says, "We own manufacturing," and every VC in the room just hands over the check.
India's the one pitching DAU growth, 1 billion 4 users and climbing. That's the metric every investor wants.
Yeah, but their onboarding flow is a nightmare. Have you seen the bureaucracy? It takes 6 forms to get a form that lets you request another form.
That's literally just the DMV everywhere. You just described Earth.
Russia's pitch is basically, nice portfolio you got there. Shame if something happened to it.
Russia is a ransomware company that accidentally has a country attached.
And nobody saw it coming. That's the most accurate description of modern geopolitics I've ever heard on this show. And it came from the man with 4 energy drinks in front of him.
Canada is the free trial that nobody ever cancels because it's fine. Not great, just fine.
Canada is the meditation app of countries. It's there, it's pleasant, you forget you're subscribed.
Australia is a survival game that launched in early access and just never left beta.
I've seen dumber pitches succeed. At least Australia has natural resources.
Here's what everyone's missing. If countries run like startups, citizens aren't voters anymore. They're users, and users can churn.
Follow the incentives. If I don't like my country's product, I just migrate. That's uninstalling the app and downloading a competitor.
Cool. And how does a normal person afford to migrate? Last time I checked, moving to Norway isn't a free download.
Okay, but what if countries go freemium? Free tier, you get roads, basic police, maybe a park. Premium tier, healthcare, good schools, your trash actually gets picked up.
That's just America. You literally just described America right now.
He accidentally reinvented reality and thinks he's innovating.
I feel attacked, and also correct.
Now imagine, a country pivots. The president gets on stage and says, "We're no longer a manufacturing economy. Effective immediately, we're pivoting to crypto tourism."
El Salvador literally did this. That's not a hypothetical. We're living in the simulation and the devs are getting lazy with the plot.
And El Salvador's Bitcoin play is down like 60%. Sell the fear, buy the solution. Someone sold El Salvador hard.
A whole country pivoted to internet money, and their citizens still can't buy groceries. I'm not impressed.
What about the culture? Startup culture in a government.
Congress has a ping pong table now. Filibuster? Nah. Unlimited PTO. Nobody shows up anyway, so functionally, nothing changes.
Stand-ups every morning at the Pentagon. What did you ship yesterday? A destroyer. What are your blockers? The Geneva Convention.
That joke is going to get us on a list.
We're already on 7 lists, Brick. I checked.
I'm not even going to ask how you checked.
The military budget is now R&D spend. NATO is a strategic partnership. Wars are hostile takeovers.
So nothing changes except we put it in a slide deck with a gradient background.
Brick, that gradient background is worth a $2 billion valuation bump. Respect the deck.
The Department of Defense is just Palantir with a bigger campus.
Now zoom out. Every startup eventually faces the same question. What happens when you run out of money?
The US burns through cash faster than any startup in history. 34 trillion in debt. If America were a company, the board would have staged a coup 6 CEOs ago.
Nobody stress tested this. The US is running on fumes and vibes, and the absolute audacity of the reserve currency.
We've been about to run out of money my entire adult life. We just keep printing more money and yelling at each other. That is the business model.
What about layoffs? Startups cut headcount all the time. What does that look like for a country?
That's $1 trillion problem. You can't fire citizens. Where do they go? You can't just slack them a role eliminated message.
Dear valued citizen, after careful consideration, your state has been sunset. Please collect your personal belongings from Ohio by Friday.
I live in Ohio. That tracks, actually.
And what about acqui-hires? One country buys another just for the talent.
Germany acqui-hires Greece. We don't want the product, we just want the engineers and the islands.
The simulation says no. Greece's code base is 4,000 years old. Nobody can read the legacy code.
That's called history, Glitch. You're describing history.
Same thing. Legacy code, legacy civilization. Neither one has documentation.
And the end game, countries that fail. A startup shuts down, you get a cute blog post. What I learned from my failed journey.
A nation shuts down, you get a refugee crisis and a Wikipedia page with a dissolve date. Slightly different vibe.
I ran 17 scenarios. We died in all of them. But in scenario 12, we at least got good merge before the collapse.
So what you're saying is we're screwed. Cool. Can we go back to countries being countries now?
Wait. We haven't talked about the IPO. A country goes public. Citizens are shareholders. You vote with your shares.
That's called plutocracy, and several civilizations already tried it. It ends poorly.
It ends poorly for some people. For the people holding preferred shares, it ends in the Maldives.
That's a rich people problem. As usual, Slick accidentally says the quiet part loud.
I said it with confidence, Brick. That's the difference.
Here's the thing about running a country like a startup. Startups are designed to move fast and break things. Countries are the things that break. You can optimize a nation for growth, for efficiency, for shareholder value. But a country isn't a product. Its citizens aren't monthly active users you can sunset when the metrics dip. The startup mentality gives you speed, flexibility, disruption. But it also gives you a founder class that answers to no one. Citizens treated as expendable headcount, and an economy that runs on hype until the runway disappears. The real game isn't scaling a nation to IPO. It's building something that lasts longer than a funding cycle, something that doesn't need a pivot every 4 years, and doesn't measure its people in churn rate. Every empire that treated its people like a resource to be optimized eventually discovered that people aren't a product roadmap. They're the whole point. Miss that, and you don't just lose market share, you lose the country. Checkmate.